Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 360 for September 3rd, 2024. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On this week's episode, the Labor Day Classic games in the Canadian Football League did not disappoint. The semifinal matchups are set in the European League of Football, and it was week one in college football. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
For the normies out there in the world of football, this is their football's back, everybody. Football's back. Well,
Right.
I'm sorry, everybody. Football's been around, and we're still in the thick of it. This is great.
I was looking at a list of all the games that we've been to this year. You know, NFL playoff game in January, UFL game, arena football. Of course, you weren't there for that, but you were almost there for one of those. But yeah, just we've been to so many games this year, and football season is just now getting here.
Yeah, trust me, I hear it all the time from my girlfriend that
Yeah.
this is not what she signed up for, having football be a year-round thing. So now she's got to deal with Lions again, fantasy football, and still Canadian and all that.
Yeah.
It's been a earth-shattering realization for her.
We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. We also have timestamps down in the descriptions of both the podcast and many of our YouTube videos, so you can go right to the topics you really want to listen to. You can also find our podcast in its full audio form on our YouTube channel. Just search for The World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @The World of Football in the YouTube search bar. You will also find over 400 other videos on our YouTube channel, including our review of the CFL last week, our CFL weekly recap for Week 12. And we have some upcoming videos coming out. Our Week 13 recap of the CFL.
Yeah, we're going to record that later tonight.
Yep. And we've got another episode or two of Just Lying Around.
Yeah, you should get a double dose this week because Kyle and I still have to do our talking about the Lions roster cuts. Got to talk about that Dan Campbell Applebee's commercial. And we got to talk about, previewing the Lions-Rams game. And, of course, then we'll do a whole post-game here. So sometime after Monday, probably, him and I will get on and talk about the game the night before. Hopefully talking about a Lions victory. We shall see.
Yeah.
So Kyle and I will be busy, but I will also be busy most of the weekend. So him and I got to hopefully.
Yeah, you're going out of town.
Yeah.
Aaron's going out of town. Your mom and I are going out of town. Man, it's going to be a hectic week for everybody. So.
Yeah, we're going to leave Kyle the keys here in Kalamazoo for the World of Football headquarters.
Uh-oh. Time to change the locks.
Yeah.
All right, so let's begin.
Hold on, then we got one more thing coming up.
I'm sorry.
You skipped over. Coming out tomorrow. That's right. September 4th. As promised, the return of our weekly NFL picks for the 2024 season. Let you guys know, we pre-recorded this episode, so it's going to be right out on time, crisp at midnight. We got it scheduled to debut, so
set your alarm clock.
Set your alarm clocks. Be on the ready for that. We already got one person who has sent in their picks. Thank you, Royce.
Yeah.
Who used the community tab, as we have been suggesting for those out there. It's another option to get their picks in early. So if you still have it and you don't want to wait for the video, go ahead, just go over to the YouTube channel, click on the community tab. You should see the post. I've put a nice graphic up to lure your eyes.
All you got to do is just give us your 16 winners for the week.
Yep.
That's all you got to do.
Yep, and then we'll add you to the list. And next week, since we'll be recording probably a little later than, we won't be recording ahead of time. We just had that luxury this past week.
Right, yeah.
So we'll be actually probably able to talk about some people's picks if they put them out on Tuesday when we put the community tab up.
Right.
So,
yeah. Okay.
All right, now you can do it.
Okay, so now let's begin our tour around the world of football. And we start off this week north of the border with games played in the Canadian Football League.
Yes, some of you might be wondering, why aren't they starting off with college football? That's back. Shouldn't that be the priority? That's the bigger thing happening. Well, technically, yes, I would say college football is probably the bigger thing happening right now. I would like to remind everybody it was a big weekend in the Canadian Football League. It was Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
That's right. Spelled with a U in there instead of just an O like we do here in the States. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yep.
So Saturday started off with the BC Lions defeating the Ottawa Redblacks 38-12. This was the inaugural Touchdown Pacific game played in Victoria, British Columbia. Cool looking stadium there, like
Yeah.
right on the water, it looked like. So near the water. They showed a lot of different camera views. It looked, I liked it. It looked really cool, and it was weird seeing all those Lions fans outdoors chanting for the team.
Yep.
And quarterback Nathan Rourke played a heck of a game.
Yes, he did.
He had I want to say we'll get more into the stats in our regular show tonight when we record. But I think he had 3 touchdown passes and he rushed for a touchdown. Like
Yep.
he was something else. So
we've been waiting for this out of him ever since he came back, and he finally delivered. I guess he was born in Victoria, British Columbia. Only lived there a couple of years, and then they moved somewhere else. But they were talking about how he was from there. One of the referees in the game lives in Victoria, so he said this is the first time he's never had to travel to go to do a game somewhere. They came right to his town. So. Yeah. It was a cool event. It was on a baseball field, and they kind of made this football stadium on this baseball field where a minor league team plays or whatever.
Did you have any issues with the game, like getting choppy? Like I know you watched on your satellite. I was watching on my YouTube TV.
Yeah,
there were moments where I wasn't sure if it was my signal or if it was the broadcast where it was getting really choppy.
It could have been the broadcast because you pixelated a few times here and there. It didn't last very long. Sometimes I think the screen went totally black for a second or two. But I did notice it. It wasn't a big deal, but
because I also saw something on X where people were complaining about that. So I was just maybe it wasn't just
nothing
me.
to complain about.
All right, but I mean that's a small, minute thing. And then another thing from this game though. Defensive lineman, some of you might be familiar with this guy's name. We've talked about him before on the show before. Matthew Betts re-signed with the British Columbia Lions after he was cut by the Detroit Lions in the NFL. Yep. He recorded a sack in this game against Ottawa, and he was the most outstanding defensive player in the CFL last season. He led the league in sacks. He had like 18 sacks, right? He had like a sack a game he averaged last season.
Yeah, he was phenomenal last year.
So cool seeing him back, and I definitely was watching when he got his sack, and I was like, I don't know how this guy just didn't make it in Detroit. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. But hey, cool seeing that he went back to the British Columbia Lions and was able to play. And they looked like the team we were kind of thinking they'd be. Now with Nathan Rourke at quarterback, and I mean they were on that long skid of losing, and now all of a sudden, I think this is a big win for them, especially against the Ottawa team that I've been considering the second best team in the league. I don't know what happened to Ottawa. They just looked like they got punched in the mouth and couldn't recover from it.
Well, they had to travel all the way across the country. And then some.
That could be. Maybe they just weren't expecting to play outdoors against the Lions. Maybe the Lions indoors is different.
Well, their roof opens up on nice weather, and it was definitely nice that day.
It was gorgeous.
Oh, man, it looked so good.
All right, we got more games to talk about. Sunday, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeated the Saskatchewan Roughriders 35-33. Any thoughts from this game? This was one I didn't catch at all.
This was another close game. I mean, you can tell by the score. It was kind of a high-scoring game, close. Came down to the very end of the game, and this is what your Labor Day games are all about. You get these rivalry games, and two teams that usually meet just about every year, and it was a great game.
Yeah, I mean. And how about Winnipeg? They've been clawing back. They started off pretty rough. Now they're back at 500. They're at 6-6 on the season. Good for them. Saskatchewan continues that awkward slide down the standings, which you hate to see. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, we'll see if they can bounce back. I like their defense. They were in this game just like they were in that game last week. So just a couple games in a row that if a few things go differently, they probably could have pulled out the wins. Mm. All right, then we had the doubleheader on Labor Day itself. And these were two fantastically fun games. Now, the Hamilton Tiger Cats defeated the Toronto Argonauts 31-28 in the Battle of Ontario. This is a game when I started watching, the Tiger Cats just scored to go up 14-0. I was like, oh man, Hamilton came to play. And then I think they scored 21 points in the first quarter. It was 21-3 at the end of the first quarter. And I was just like, what is happening to my Toronto Argonauts? And then I had to do some cleaning, or I've been moving, so we're still dealing with the collateral of that this weekend. And I came back to watch the game, and it was like 25-27 or something. Toronto was like just down by a couple points.
Right.
Then they got the lead back. They're up 28-27, and then Hamilton took the lead back. And they got like a ruse to tie it up at 28. Right. Then they kicked the field goal to essentially win the game. Then Toronto couldn't do anything when they got the ball back. So Hamilton looked great. And how about Bo Levi Mitchell? They said he's undefeated on Labor Day.
Yeah, 7-0.
7-0, and that dude just played out of his mind football.
He threw for over 400 yards. It was 450 something, maybe. I don't know. I don't have the exact number in front of me.
Yeah,
but
we'll talk about the stats on the big show. But I think a couple of receivers combined for like.
Yeah, he had 3 receivers that all were over 100 yards.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
2 of them had touchdowns.
Absolutely insane.
What an offensive show.
But a heck of a game, a heck of a show put on there in Hamilton. I'm sure they got nervous there for a minute when Toronto started clawing back. But, but they still got the win, so good for them getting that Labor Day win. And then the second game on the doubleheader saw the Edmonton Elks defeat the Calgary Stampeders 35-20 in the Battle of Alberta. How about them Elks? I mean, McLeod Bethel-Thompson looked great.
Yep.
I know Trey Ford was dressed and sitting on the sideline. Maybe he'll be back next week. We'll see.
They obviously didn't need him.
Yeah, McLeod has played a good couple of solid games in replacement of Trey Ford. And what an embarrassment of riches to have a McLeod Bethel-Thompson when he plays like that, and a Trey Ford that they could probably do something with both those guys going forward, and that gets them back in the playoff hunt. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things happening with the standings, which we'll talk about here in a second. And on bye this week, the Montreal Alouettes. So here are those standings in the CFL after Week 13. In the East Division, the Montreal Alouettes sit at 10-1, followed by the 7-3-1 Ottawa Redblacks, the 6-5 Toronto Argonauts, and the 3-9 Hamilton Tiger Cats. In the West Division, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are 5-6-1. They should probably get knocked out.
Yeah, they should be in third place. I forgot to move those.
So they should be at third. At 6-6, you have the Blue Bombers of Winnipeg and the BC Lions at 6-6. Calgary at 4-7. The Edmonton Elks at 4-8.
One thing about all 4 games, because I watched all 4, they were all on TV, CBS Sportsnet, and it looked like every game was a sellout. So it was awesome to see those 4 games where, I mean, the one in Victoria, they only had 17,000 people. That was a makeshift stadium, but still it was sold out.
Yeah.
But the other ones, it looked like every other stadium was packed. I mean, if it wasn't a sellout, which I think a few were, it was darn near close to a sellout. So it was great to see. Great crowds, great games. All of them were really good.
It was just great football all weekend with Labor Day weekend. So
the
CFL does it right. I know I celebrated by making some football cookies and watching a little bit of the games when I could.
You did, or your girlfriend did?
Well, I bought them from the store, and I threw them in the oven, so thank you.
Okay, whatever.
All right, we're going to stay in the Great White North, and we're going to talk about some Canadian college football games, aren't we?
Yep, I've got some random scores from USPORTS, their version of the NCAA up there. It was the Montreal Carabins over the McGill Redbirds, 48-7. The St. Mary's Huskies over the Acadia Axemen, 41-33 in 3 overtimes. And finally, the Windsor Lancers over the Carleton Ravens, 18-15. And then in the Canadian Junior Football League, a couple of random scores there. The Ottawa Sooners over the Quint Skyhawks, 51-1. You don't see that score very often. The London Beefeaters over the Hamilton Hurricanes, 65-3. And finally, the St. Clair Saints shut out the Greater Toronto Area Grizzlies, 57-0.
Woof! What a bunch of beatdowns.
Yep, it was this week. Hopefully, they'll start playing a little bit better in the weeks to come. Now we're going to head across the pond and talk about the European League of Football. This was their wild card weekend, so only 2 games this weekend. On Saturday, it was the number 4 Paris Musketeers defeating the number 5 Munich Ravens by the score of 40-37. And then on Sunday, it was the number 3 Rhine Fire over the number 6 Madrid Bravos, 40-10, with the number 1 ranked Vienna Vikings and the number 2 Stuttgart Surge on bye. And so this sets up the semifinals this coming weekend. On Saturday, it's going to be the Paris Musketeers at the Vienna Vikings, who are undefeated this year at 12-0, and the Rhine Fire are going to be at the Stuttgart Surge on Sunday. And so the championship game is going to be on Sunday, September 22nd. So they've got like 2 weeks. Why would they do that? I don't know. I don't even like it when the NFL does that. Just play it the next week. Come on. But yeah, they're playing it, and supposedly they have sold 35,000 tickets already for that championship game, which is going to make it the biggest game in ELF history.
Hey, they've been building this league up. They've gone through a lot. We just started covering them this year, so maybe we had something to do with that. We're reaching enough ears to help them get the word out there about the European League of Football. But no, seriously, they have been building that league up over there. They've got a lot of good players there, and the semifinal matchups sound like they're all going to be awesome games. The Paris Musketeers have been a surprise all year. They didn't start off as hot, if I remember right, but they were a team I was like, I'm not familiar with their work, but they've come a long way. The Vienna Vikings having an undefeated season so far, so that's on the line.
Yep.
Then you have the defending the rematch of the championship game, which is the number 3 seed Rhein Fire, the last year's champions, against the team they beat, the Stuttgart Surge, who are going to be the top seed in this game. So you have a rematch of the championship game as your semifinal matchup. That's a heck of a game there. So a lot on the line for both of those teams. Does Rhein get back to the championship game, or can Stuttgart will they surge past them and get to the championship game? And I don't know. There's a lot of fun to be had here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these games shake out. A lot of good players too. I know like that running back for the Rhein Fire, Tunga, is one of the best running backs over there. He's had a heck of a season. He's a guy to keep an eye out for. I'd love to see him come to play in the States, but. Yeah, looking forward to it. They've had a heck of a season, and this league just keeps continuing to grow, and I'm looking forward to see where this league heads, in the future.
Okay. All right, now we have something different this week. I'd forgotten all about the X League over in Japan starting up, but we're going to...
Who didn't forget?
But now we're going to go to the Far East, where our man in Japan, our correspondent, Greg St. James, has the Week 1 scores from the X League. Take it away, Greg.
From the far side of the world, it is the Gridiron Japan scoreboard with Greg St. James. In Week 1 of X League Super Action, the Fujitsu Frontiers defeated the Fujifilm Minerva 36-7. Fujitsu is the defending X League champion. In the second game, we had the Obik Seagulls 28-17 over the Tokyo Gas Creators. In the third game, we had the Penta Ocean Pirates 31-3 over the Mitsubishi Club Triax. This was in X League Area Action, which is the second division of the X League. And continuing with the X League Super Scores, we had IBM Big Blue over the All Mitsubishi Lions 24-12. In the next game, we had the Nojima Rise win 24-7 over the Oriental Bio Silver Star. And then lastly, we had the Panasonic Impulse win 63-7 over the Fukuoka Suns. For more information on the Gridiron game in Japan, Google Gridiron Japan, and it will take you to all of our platforms, all of our social media. But you can also dial us in direct at gridironjapan.jp.
Thank you, Greg. We look forward to your weekly scores from Japan, and keep up the good work on your podcast, Gridiron Japan.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Good hearing his voice. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I know he's been doing a lot of stuff over there on his channel. So.
Yeah, he was back in the States a few months ago,
and
but
he
didn't come by to see me. No.
To see you.
Or you
want to see me and talk comic books.
Yeah, you played in his fantasy football league a couple years ago.
I couldn't this year, but yeah. But hey, no, it's cool hearing Japan scores. This is the kind of thing I was hoping our podcast would get to, is like having correspondents around the world that could fill us in on some of the stuff that we're not so privy to. It's like, I mean, I know the X League's out there, but it's not like I look at the scores.
We covered their scores last year, but I mean, they've got a halfway decent website that I was able to glean things from, but nothing like being there and knowing these teams and better than us.
Right, and now if we've made it because we have a correspondent that actually sends us in a clip, and that saved us a minute and 14 seconds of airtime.
And we spent 2 minutes talking about it.
Oh yeah, that we did.
All right. Now we're going to head back stateside and cover some college football scores. And so this was Week 1 in college football. On Thursday, it was Colorado over the FCS champion North Dakota State. What are they, the Jackrabbits? I can't remember.
No, they're the Bison.
Bison, that's right.
Yeah.
And but Colorado won 31-26. Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders completed 26 of 34 passes for 445 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception in the game. You were watching this game before me, and you sent me a text saying, "Oh my gosh, you got to check this out," and I did. I wound up watching most of the rest of the game.
I thought the Bison were giving the Buffalo a heck of a run for their money.
Yes.
They looked like they could hang with them, and
Yes.
I was impressed. And it's a theme throughout week 1 here in college football. Is a lot of these smaller schools were able to hang with some of the big dogs, but the big dogs eventually did what they do because they've just got the depth.
Right.
They just have the talent that once they get the rust kind of shaken off, they're going to be hard to beat in these smaller schools. I won't say they don't have a chance, but it just makes it a lot harder for them to overcome. But can I say it? Despite hearing those stats for Shedeur Sanders, I wasn't impressed. Hard to say that when a dude. How can you not be? I get it.
Yeah.
How are you not impressed with a dude who threw for 445 yards and 4 touchdowns? I don't know. I watched him on the field. I don't know if it's his demeanor. And as much as I like Deion as a coach and the way he's kind of flipped that program around, despite them not really winning anything yet, they're all just talk right now. But I like what he's done. They've sold out every home game, and they've done nothing.
Right.
It's like the Lions selling out home games and not doing anything.
Right.
But it's that promise, it's that hope that he's given that school, which I like. But for whatever reason, I just am not a fan of Shedeur Sanders. I think he's overrated, and I think those stats are very inflated. And as much as I thought the North Dakota State Bisons gave them a run for their money, I mean, it's still an FCS school that you walked over.
Right.
And a couple of blown coverages, a couple of big plays inflate your stats. Watching him just didn't impress me. He didn't seem like the Heisman guy. I get it. It's week 1. He just didn't seem like the Heisman guy everybody's hyping him up to be. I'm not saying he's terrible, overhyped for sure.
Well, I do think that he is fun to watch. I enjoy watching him play.
His team is fun to watch.
You never know what he's going to do.
You don't know what's going to happen. They're either going to blow it or they're going to be as good as promised.
Is that long pass he's throwing going to be the greatest catch you've ever seen, or is it going to go over the guy's head and just be an incomplete pass?
They have talent. While they were fun to watch last year, we were curious to see where they were going to go last year. Now this year, they're going to have that target on their back. I'm curious to see what their schedule looks. I don't know what their schedule is. Like how many soft teams do they got?
Yeah, I don't know.
How many real teams are they going to play? So I will watch Colorado's season with great interest.
And then on Sunday, it was the Black College Football Hall of Fame Classic in Canton, Ohio. This was the 5th annual game that they've had there between a couple of HBCU schools. It was the Virginia State University Trojans over Benedict College Tigers by the score of 23-7. This game was delayed for about an hour in the third quarter due to lightning, and I was watching this game when that happened, and I came back later, and they finished the game, so it was pretty late when they finally finished it off, but it was a fun game to watch. From what I understand, Benedict College has been a really good team. The announcers were like, I can't believe that they can only score 7 points tonight because they've been such a really good team the last few years. I enjoy watching new teams I've never seen before. And when I went to the game, it was right at halftime, so I got to see both of the marching bands. Man, I love this. They do so many things that's like back in the 70s when I was in the marching band, the kind of the concert formation, the kind of moving diamond formations. I'm like, oh my God, I remember doing all that when I was in band.
Tell us you're a nerd without telling us you're a nerd, Randy.
I'm a nerd. I just love marching bands, and this really brought back a lot of memories for me. So I
loved marching band too. It was great. I mean, as much as I love football, being in the marching band back in school is a lot of fun.
Yep. All right, so now we're going to look at the top 10 teams in the country. How do they do, these ranked teams? It was number 1 Alabama over number 14 Clemson, 34-3. It was Ohio State over number 2 Ohio State over Akron, 52-6. Number 3 Oregon over FCS Idaho. You'll see a theme here. A lot of these big teams, they played FCS teams, and to inflate their stats.
In typical Randy fashion, you missed the score to the game.
Did I?
Yeah. Then you tell me what's the score to Oregon Idaho?
Oregon over FCS Idaho, and I did not put the score on there.
It was so bad we can't even mention the score. Give me 2 seconds. I'm sure I could find.
Let me go to the next one.
Well, hold on, I got it right here.
Okay.
Oregon defeated Idaho 24-14.
Okay, 24-14. All right, moving on. Number 4 Texas shut out Colorado State 52-0. Quarterback Arch Manning throws his first touchdown pass in mop-up duty towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I heard that it wasn't really like a pass. It was like a shovel, not a shovel pass. It was
I
like
didn't actually didn't see the play, so I don't know.
I heard somebody talk about it at work because I missed it. But
yeah,
I mean, I want to get excited. Arch Manning might be the next great college quarterback to keep an eye out for.
Right.
So we'll have to keep an eye out and ear out for when Texas finally decides to make him the starter.
Yeah. All right, number 5, Alabama shut out Western Kentucky 63-0. Number 6, Ole Miss shut out FCS team Furman 73-0. Number 7, Notre Dame defeated number 20 Texas A&M 23-13. Number 8, Penn State over West Virginia 34-12. Michigan over Fresno State 30-10.
Number 9, Michigan.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
You didn't say anything.
Oh, well, number 9, Michigan.
And by the way, Kyle of Just Lying Around in the World of Football, he came up to me today. You know what he said?
Huh?
With his Michigan hat on, because I have an Ohio State coworker. He says, "Hey, go down and tell that guy I'm no longer going to be a Michigan fan because we look like crap against Fresno State, and I'm going to convert my allegiance to Ohio State."
Oh, please.
And I looked at him. I figured he was joking because Kyle wouldn't really do that. But he said this to my face, and I was like, what's wrong with you? One game, and they're already
jumping out the window.
Like, oh, my God, we only won 30-10 against Fresno State. The sky's falling.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to pick it up because I think they got Texas this week, so they got a big game.
Oh, yeah, Arch Manning's going to
oh God,
have a great game against them. Let's see. And finally, in the top 10 scores, it was number 10, Florida State, dropping their second game of the season, this time to Boston College by the score of 28-13.
Yeah, I saw that. I couldn't believe it. That's 2 games in a row. They were ranked number 10 to start the year. So week 0, they lost on that last-second field goal to Georgia Tech. I think you can go, it's a last-second field goal, whatever. But then to drop 2 games in a row, I think this game was at home for them too. So big upset. Boston College coming into your stadium. Woof. 0-2 to start the year, and you're supposed to be the number 10 team in the country, and you lose to 2 teams that aren't ranked. Yeah. Yikes! So the dropout of Florida State next week should be...
we won't be mentioning them
boy,
next
oh
week,
boys.
probably. They might be in another category next week, but not in the top 10.
They might be in the FCS next week.
All right. Another category that we like to do every year is the military academies. And so we had Army defeating an FCS team, Lehigh, by the score of 42-7. Navy also played an FCS school, Bucknell, and beat them 49-21. And Air Force over FCS Merrimack 21-6. I got to see some of this Air Force game. It was kind of fun. I so want to go out there for a game. I'm trying to talk your mom into going out there and checking out the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, and I might be wearing her down. I don't know. We'll see. And then the best of the rest scores, it was Wisconsin over Western Michigan from here in Kalamazoo, 28-14. I watched a good share of this game.
Same.
Western Michigan played well in the first half, but they just couldn't.
It's the same thing I talked about earlier. It was
do 4 quarters.
Western played them tough.
Yep.
Western even looked better than them at a couple points, and I was like, why is Western not capitalizing? Western had a couple opportunities to try to either get a lead or to just start kind of, getting some distance with Wisconsin. But, I mean, eventually the depth and probably just the sheer talent of Wisconsin just eventually kind of outdid Western, because then Western made a couple of mistakes. Their new head coach was very reminiscent of Dan Campbell, kind of going for it on some 4th downs. He had some really gutsy calls that I don't know if you'd make in certain situations. Like, I think one that paid off was going for the touchdown at the end of the first half instead of the field goal. That worked out for him. But then there were a couple other times I'm like, man, you got to either kick the field goal, you got to do something slightly different there. So I don't know. We'll see. This Western team could be a little tougher. They've got a big task in Ohio State this week. But like every other team we talked about, these smaller schools playing the big schools.
Yep.
I mean, they just couldn't get there.
Yep.
And I mean, Wisconsin, obviously, another one of those Big Ten teams. There was the first time I saw the stat in the Big Ten where they've had 18 teams. 17 of the teams won their games this past week. And Minnesota lost one. And we don't have that game on here, but did you see that even though they missed that last-second field goal to lose the game, the fireworks went off anyway?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, very embarrassing. How you missed the field goal and the fireworks go off. Terrible timing.
Oh, my gosh.
Roll the boat there, PJ.
Yeah. Former Western Michigan coach.
Western Michigan.
In fact, we saw him lead the Western Michigan against Wisconsin in the Cotton Bowl a few years ago down at Jerry's World in Texas, and that was quite an event that we saw there.
But other than Western, I mean, they had a chance there. I thought Western could almost pull it out. They were playing them so tough.
Yeah.
Western's got a couple of talented guys on there. That running back, I forget his name at the top of my head. He looked pretty good. I'm excited to see him all season long.
Yep.
But hey, we kind of figure. I mean, it's tough to go up into a Big Ten school and get that victory.
Right.
But hey, they played them tough, and they only lost by 14. I'd say that's respectable. Yeah. And it wasn't until the end of the game that they kind of pulled away. So for 3 quarters, I want to say Western played them very, very tough.
And I just bought tickets today for a Western Michigan game in a couple weeks, so
Yeah.
we'll be talking about that in
Their
a couple
home
weeks.
opener?
It's Communiversity night. I don't know if it's their.
It's gotta
Yes,
be the home
yes, I think it is.
Yeah, because they got their 2 road games,
Right.
and then we're
Yep.
going to the third game, which
Yep.
is their home opener. Yep, I'm excited.
Okay, let's see another score here. Arkansas shut out FCS Arkansas Pine Bluff by the score of 70-0. Good for you, Arkansas. UCLA over Hawaii 16-13. I don't know why I threw that game in there, but Texas Tech defeated FCS Abilene Christian by the score of 52-51 in overtime, and I picked this game just because of that score. But then I read later on the Abilene Christian football team was involved in a crash with another vehicle in Lubbock, Texas on Saturday night on their way home from this game. One player, 2 coaches, and the bus driver were taken to University Center in Lubbock for minor injuries, according to the Abilene Christian Athletic Department. The Lubbock Police Department told multiple news outlets that a 19-year-old driver collided with the bus and was charged with a DUI and taken into custody.
Man.
And I just saw something a little while ago that said all 4 of these people have been released from the hospital. Their injuries were pretty minor. They thought one guy had some cracked ribs. Turned out not to be true. Thought another guy had a concussion. That turned out not to be true. So luckily everybody's doing okay. And I'm glad it wasn't more serious.
Right. I mean, I don't want to get into a whole thing about driving while under the influence, but don't be stupid. We have the technology, especially nowadays. If you can't drive yourself home, you have options. Uber, Lyft, some other thing. Call your mom if you need to. Call your ex. Just don't get out. It's dangerous. We heard about that story in the NHL with the 2 hockey player and his brother passed because of a drunk driver. Inexcusable.
Yeah.
It affects so many people. Luckily, in this situation, nobody was severely hurt. Nobody died. But still, just that danger's out there. That's a choice you make driving under the influence, and just get your crap together. All right? Like, there's no reason to be doing that.
This has been a public service announcement by the World of Football.
Yep.
All right, three more random scores from the FCS level. We got Maine over Colgate, 17-14. Morgan State over Hampton, 30-28, and Stetson over Ave Maria, 41-3. Now let's look at Division II. Bemidji State over Michigan Tech, 19-13 in overtime. Eastern New Mexico over New Mexico Highlands, 63-36. And it was Pittsburgh State over Ferris State, where my brother went to college for a year, 19-3. Moving on to Division III, there was only one game on the whole Division III schedule last weekend, and that was Plymouth State defeating Norwich 17-13. I had to look twice, but that was the only score on that whole page. So one game. There'll be more next week. All right, at the NAIA level, William Penn of Iowa shut out William Woods 59-0. Indiana Wesleyan shut out Madonna of Michigan 59-0. And it was Peru State over Hastings of Nebraska, 27-21. And then finally, in the it is the last one. In the National Junior College Athletic Association, these are 2-year schools. DuPage over Hocking, 49-12. Rochester over Minnesota North College at Vermilion, 58-2. And North Dakota State College of Science over Minnesota North College Mesabi Range, 38-14. I was thinking about this the other day. That's the lower level you get, the longer these school names are. But yeah, Snow College wasn't playing this week, but they'll be playing next week.
Yeah.
All right. It's one story out of the NCAA. The NCAA is blocking Oklahoma State from putting QR codes on the backs of their helmets to solicit NIL donations.
Did you see
that?
that when they first did that? Yeah, they're putting the QR codes for each kid so you can donate to their NIL fund.
I don't think we talked about it on the show because I was going to put that in this week that they were doing that, and then I saw an article just a day or so ago that said the NCAA is saying no, you can't do that. So as much as they wanted to, and they planned it, and they had pictures of the QR codes on the back of the helmet, the NCAA is saying, not so fast, my friend. We don't like that idea, so we're not going to let you do it.
Dang.
So that's the story.
It was an interesting thing to think of. I mean, maybe I'm waiting for the team to get ballsy enough to put the QR code on the helmet. Like, instead of a logo, like, here's the QR code, like, on the side of the helmet.
Oh, that is the logo? The QR code
is the logo? The QR
logo?
code would be the logo. You know what's coming.
Well, they could probably sell little
Or a
mini
jersey.
helmets with the
They
logo.
probably could.
And I'm sure they're going to have it on all kinds of signage. You can
I'm
get it
sure
from
you
their
get
website
an
or
in-game
whatever.
program or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, they'll
It'll
have
be
it
everywhere
there.
because they'll still want you to
Look
throw
up
some
at the
money
video
at 'em.
board to scan the QR code to
That's
donate
right.
to the NIL fund.
Why, look, the marching band is forming a QR code in the middle of the field. Scan that right now.
Oh my God, that's yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
I wonder if they could. No, I don't think they could actually do that. It wouldn't
Well,
work.
You know what they'd have to do? They just have to get information, then they all hold a big tarp up.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
You get the flag twirlers to do it because they already got the banners and stuff. Or those, yeah, because the flag twirlers also bring out the like at Western games they bring out the stuff to make up the American
Right,
flag.
right.
There you go.
Oh my
Why aren't we working in public relations somewhere where we do this? In game, what's that called? Game day entertainment.
Yeah, something
There we
like
go.
that.
We could be in that department.
All right, more happenings in the world of football. We got some talk about the NFL here. Russell Wilson was named the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers over Justin Fields. Does that really surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me, but I don't know. I'm not impressed with Russell or Justin Fields.
No,
I mean,
I'm not either.
But I mean, Justin Fields is just a younger version of Russ at this point. I mean,
Could be.
why wouldn't you go with him? I mean, the amount of money. I mean, well, it's also not like they're paying either of these guys a bunch of money. Denver's still flipping the bill for Russ for playing for a different team. So, whatever. I don't know. I'll be curious to see if they are any better than what we think they're going to be because I don't have a lot of high expectations for them, regardless of whoever of these two quarterbacks starts.
No,
so.
not really. Another quarterback, rookie Jaden Daniels, has been named the starting quarterback of the Washington Redskins.
Whoa. The Redskins.
I'm sorry, Washington Commanders.
Okay, there we go. I was like, who are the Redskins?
Yeah. You're too young to remember that. You're only
Like,
30-something years old.
I'm pretty sure it was a story on our podcast. But no, look, Jaden Daniels. Look, he like we mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think, when we were talking about preseason games for some reason. He looked like he had the basic mechanics you want out of your rookie quarterback to at least have the confidence enough to throw him in as your starter. Kind of like Bo Nix showed that, and I think every rookie except for J.J. McCarthy has been him and Penix are the only ones that haven't been named starters. McCarthy obviously because he got hurt.
Right.
Penix is a backup to Kirk Cousins, and I think that was all the rookies.
Yeah, there was another rookie that was named a starter. I can't remember who that was.
Because you got number 1 overall for the Bears.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on Caleb Williams?
Right.
Jaden Daniels the second. Oh, the quarterback for the Patriots isn't because Jacoby Brissett has been named the starter there instead of Drake May. So the 3 of the 6 drafted in the first round are going to be starters week 1.
Okay. All right. 49ers wide receiver Ricky Pearsall was shot in the chest during an attempted robbery. He was placed on reserve/non-football injury list yesterday, 2 days after he was shot in San Francisco. He's going to miss at least the first 4 games of his rookie season as he recovers. How do you get shot in the chest and then 4 weeks from now you're going to be playing in an NFL game? I can't fathom that.
If he plays, it's going to be something. Because remember a few years ago when that running back for the Commanders that got shot multiple times, Robinson, I think it was Brian Robinson was his name. He got shot multiple times, and then his big welcome when he got back on the football field after being shot the way he was incredible. The fact that he came back and was able to play. I think I won't say he's going to get something similar, but I mean, it's going to be nuts. If he steps out on that football field, shoot.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, I just can't fathom that. You get shot in the chest, and in a month you're going to be playing in an NFL game, or possibly. We don't know that for sure.
I don't know how severe, because the video showed him after the robbery. He was able to walk himself to the ambulance with the police officers. So yeah, some dude tries to jack his Rolex, and he survives that, and then just walks to the ambulance. It's just a crazy story. Glad he's okay.
Oh yeah,
but man, absolutely nuts. And I didn't know the timetable for his return, but yeah, 4 weeks sounds really fast.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't think I'd be ready to do something like that.
Right. And
maybe
then,
4 years from now I'll be ready to move on.
But his teammate, this just kind of came through. We knew that Trent Williams was reworking his deal with the 49ers. Right. I guess the deal right now is coming through. It's been a reworked 3-year, $82.66 million deal that includes $48 million guaranteed for one of the best left tackles in football. So
Yeah.
the Niners loading up.
Yeah, I knew that was in the works, but I didn't want to mention it today because nothing was set. But it looks like they're pretty close to it. That's what it's going to be. And so okay.
And then we
that's
we
good.
talked about that Brandon Ayuk drama, and then he settled his deal.
Right,
What a
yeah.
bunch of for the same deal he was going to get back when they first started negotiating. Like I saw somebody say, this could have been an email.
Yeah.
So all this drama we had to hear about, this
Yeah.
could have just been an email.
Yeah.
So what else?
Let's see. Oh, I got 2 things left here in the NFL. Something I like and something I don't like.
Oh, gee, typical.
So here's something
Welcome
I
to
like.
our new segment, what Randy doesn't like and what Randy likes. Starting with the likes.
You haven't seen this video yet.
I haven't
but
watched it
A little
yet.
while ago, I saw this video from Peyton Manning. Manning Cast the musical. That's all I'm going to say about it. You can find it on our Facebook and our Twitter feed, or X feed. It's like 10 minutes long, but it's hysterical. There are so many appearances by football luminaries in this thing. Roger Goodell is in it, and
Don't spoil it.
well, yeah, I'm just saying that a lot of people in this. Football and non-football people, just a lot of famous people.
Answer me this. Are there any Detroit Lions in it?
I don't think so.
Okay. And then I'm not watching
I
it.
don't think so. Yeah,
Not worth my time.
it's hysterical.
'Cause, I mean,
I love Eli and
Because how can
Peyton.
Applebee's get Dan Campbell to do a commercial for them, yet the Mannings can't get Dan Campbell or anybody?
Have you seen the one with Amon-Ra St. Brown and who's the tight end from the 49ers?
George Kittle?
Yes, they do a commercial now.
For what product?
I'm trying to remember.
Because Dead Air is
Oh,
great.
it's, something about God, no, I can't remember.
Do I have to Google it? I'll Google it while you talk about what you don't
But
like.
yeah, I saw that today for the first time too. I saw it a couple times. But anyway, yeah, they're doing a commercial together. But yeah, if you want to talk about something I don't like, this really is upsetting me, and I don't know if this is, I can't remember where I got this at, but the story came out last day or so that the NFL wants to begin their season on Labor Day weekend in the future, so that they can have games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and Monday. So I hate this idea so much because we just got through talking about the great CFL Classic games that they do every year. One of them it was like 53 years. This was the 53rd edition. Another one was like 63rd edition, where these two teams have been meeting every Labor Day, and all those games were so great. Week 1 in college football, we had some great games. A lot of beatdowns from lesser teams, but still, now the NFL wants to take that away from them because they've already taken away Christmas Day from the NBA, which used to be theirs. They've taken away Thanksgiving. They've taken away Christmas, and a lot of times Halloween too. So and they want to move into what is that? The President's Day? Yeah, in February, President's Day. They want to move the Super Bowl to that weekend so that people will have Monday off. After the Super Bowl Sunday. So it's just, when is it going to stop? The answer is never.
I was going to say the answer is never.
But these billionaires, they just want more money so that they can all be trillionaires. That's and they don't care who they got to step on to get it. And I really, really hate this idea. So I hope this is not true. But I've seen it in a couple of different places, and man, it just really upset me the more I thought about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen this from a reputable source yet. I'm not saying it's not out there, but it's clearly making the rounds. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, because it makes sense. I mean, your opening weekend, you're already right now, the weekend after Labor Day, trying to corner that whole weekend as it is. I mean, they already got the Thursday game, and they're having the Brazil game on Friday,
night.
which, by the way, Darius Slay coming out and saying he doesn't want to do it, or like that he hates the idea, is crazy. So I don't know what the league's just doing it to do it. And then obviously they'll play Sunday and Monday.
Right.
But I mean, the Labor Day would make sense, but yeah, Canada's already got it. But unfortunately in the States, nobody else knows it. You and I are probably a handful, two of a handful of people in the States watching Labor Day Classic games with the CFL.
Right.
I mean, if they had a bigger TV deal, like if they already had like an ESPN deal where they were doing it, then I could say, okay, yeah, the NFL is just being a bunch of jerks and taking it from Canada. But nobody else in the States is watching it, unfortunately, which, I mean, sucks. I'm not saying, I like it, but it's just the reality of the situation. But if this turns out to be true, I mean, it's just the NFL hopefully also fixing their schedule is the only good thing I could see from this. It would be you add that week and maybe we get the 2 bye weeks. If they shuffle the schedule to do that, I'd probably be okay in the end, but I don't know. Then we already got that holiday weekend off, and it'd be great for watching more professional football.
No, go camping with your family. Go to the beach. Go take a road trip somewhere.
Said the guy who did nothing but watch Canadian football that weekend. So no, you would plop your butt down and watch football.
I regret nothing this past weekend.
I'm not saying you should.
Those games were so good.
They were.
Okay. Hard Knocks, training camp with the Chicago Bears, episode 4. I thought that was the last episode, but you said there's another one
There's
tonight.
always 5 episodes.
All right. So anyway, a couple of takeaways I had from this game. They got to feature assistant running backs coach Jennifer King for the first time. I thought that was kind of cool, seeing her interact with the players.
Yeah, surprised they didn't get to her sooner. I thought she would have been somebody interesting to kind of follow along. And especially with the running backs, were already a story. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised because they showed that other coach. But why is it episode 4 we're finally hearing about this assistant coach? I was like, where's she been?
Yeah.
Why you guys been hiding her until episode 4? Like she could have been a person that's been getting a lot of notoriety for a few weeks, but whatever, better late than never, I guess.
I guess. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Whenever she was on screen, I enjoyed.
I like that they because I already complained about the regular running backs coach kind of being a jerk.
Right.
But then the fact that they had her and they said that one of the players or the player, what's his name? Ian Wheeler, I think, is the one who said that it was like good cop, bad cop. Why didn't they show that? That would have been a great dynamic from the beginning. Good cop, bad cop.
Are you saying that NFL Films dropped the ball?
Maybe a little bit.
I don't know.
I'm not saying they did a bad job. But I'm just saying, like, what a missed opportunity in hindsight.
Yep. Let's see. They talked about backup quarterback Tyson Bagent's dad. I called him his uncle last week. Yeah. You corrected me on that.
Of course I did.
But they showed him arm wrestling in some bar, and his son was there to cheer him on.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting.
But so that whole scene, I was going to ask you about that because they had the one player that was on the bubble, the safety who was like sitting there in his hotel room with all the different sound bowls. They were intercutting that with like him being all peaceful, and then they cut to the rowdiness of the arm wrestling and just how I guess showing how two people prepare differently.
Yeah.
Which at first I was annoyed with. I was like, oh my god, we stop cutting back and forth, like just show me one or the other. But at the end, I get what they were coming at with the story. Like, look, this is how people prepare differently. Right. This guy's like, different. I sit here and I just listen to my sound bowls and I just relax and I get my mind right. And the other guy's like, nope, I am just testosterone personified and I'm going to arm wrestle the crap out of people in this bar. Like, it was just, I don't know. It was fun after a while. But at first I was like, this is annoying jumping back and forth. But then I was like, you know what? That's kind of cool that they thought enough of that to do that.
Yeah. But the one thing I hated was seeing running back Ian Wheeler tearing his ACL in the last preseason game versus the Chiefs. He was placed on injured reserve, and he's out for the season, but they told him they wanted him to be around, rehab with the team, come to the weight room and all that stuff. But, man, he was one of the guys that, of course, you're rooting for.
Of course.
He's already been accepted to medical school or something, but he's putting it off until he sees what's going to happen with the NFL.
Of course. And to watch his mom be in the stadium for that. That got me. That
she got a text from him. I think he texted her from the locker room saying,
right away,
I think my ACL's torn, and she just
I feel bad because as a cameraman, you're doing your job,
right?
But that cameraman just like focused on her, and it just sat there for a good 10-15 seconds. It just her just processing that. I was like, oh, it's so heartbreaking. But that's and I use the term good. But that's the good side of Hard when they actually like catch that emotion. Like, it sucks. Like, that's a sucky thing to happen. But the fact that they captured that and got me invested, like that you feel that, like that's what NFL Films can do at their peak. And that was like, dang, I felt real bad for Wheeler because he was a guy I was pulling for. But because of that, then that opened up the gate for that player who was trying to find a spot in a running back position. He was like a receiver. They thought maybe he could make special teams, but then he had a great game, that final preseason game, to help him go 4-0 for the first time since 1994 in the preseason.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just this episode was probably my favorite of all of them so far. So
yeah. Yep, Chicago Bears, your preseason champs. We'll see how that translates to the regular season.
We shall see. Even though they did say, somebody put out a stat that they had the highest point differential in the preseason I don't think it'll translate
cares?
to anything. Yeah, somebody pull out some stat out of their butt, a bunch of Bears fans.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, this means that they have the potential to do this, and that doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah.
None of that actually translates. You can pull out all sorts of stats and make it look the way you want. We'll see.
All right. Today's birthdays for September 3rd. Defensive end Javon Curse, a.k.a. The Freak, turns 48 today. Played his college football at Florida. Was the 16th overall pick in the 1999 NFL draft by the Tennessee Titans. He played 11 NFL seasons. He was with Tennessee from 99 to 2003, Philadelphia from 2004 to 2007, and then he returned to the Titans for his last 2 years, 2008 and 2009. He was the Associated Press Defensive Rookie of the Year in 1999.
Heck of an athlete. Man,
Yeah.
that guy was a freak. He literally lived up to his nickname. That dude was a freak.
And defensive back Benny Blades turns 58 today. He played his college football at Miami of Florida, was the 3rd overall pick in the 1988 NFL draft by our beloved Detroit Lions, played 10 seasons in Detroit from 88 to, he played 10 seasons in the NFL. He did 9 seasons with Detroit from 88 to 96, and his last year was in Seattle in 1997.
It's a name I haven't heard.
Didn't you have a
forever.
Benny Blades jersey at
I
one
didn't have a
time?
Benny Blades. I definitely had a Benny Blades football card.
Okay.
But yeah, Benny
Well,
Blades.
you
I
had
haven't
all
heard
kinds
that
of
name in so
football
long.
cards, man. You had a card for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought maybe you might have had it because you had a ton of jerseys. You get a couple of jerseys every year, or whatever was out in the store. You say, "Oh, there's a new one. I got to
Maybe.
have his number."
But it's been a while.
Yeah.
I've never had a Benny Blades though.
Okay, I wasn't sure. All right, and we do have one obituary this week. This is where we take a moment to honor those who made the world of football a better place. And our one obituary this week is Tom Donchez, or Donchez. I'm going to go with Donchez. A running back in the NFL for just one season, has passed away at the age of 72. Donchez played college football at Penn State and was selected in the 4th round of the 1975 NFL draft by the Buffalo Bills. However, he ended up signing with the Chicago Bears and played in 14 games for the Bears during the 1975 season. His career was cut short due to injuries. So, condolences to the Donchez family. All right, finally today, upcoming events calendar. This Thursday, that's 2 days from now.
Oh my goodness, it's here.
It's the NFL regular season. Thursday night game, Ravens at Chiefs. The very next night, on the 6th, it's going to be the Eagles versus the Packers in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That game is going to be on Peacock.
We've been saying Amazon.
Yeah, I was wrong. I wrote it down once a month ago, and I've been wrong ever since. So it is on Peacock. Let's see, Saturday, September 7th, which is this Saturday. In the CFL, it's the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the Banjo Bowl. If you want to know about the Banjo Bowl, I think I did a history lesson on that. But if I did, we'll have to replay that on our timeline.
Yeah, I've been telling you to dust off some of those old ones and make videos of them, but maybe for next year you got to do a Banjo Bowl video.
Yeah, I thought I did do a video on that one.
I don't think
Maybe
you
not.
have.
But anyway, during our CFL picks. Our CFL recap, we'll talk more about it next week when we talk about the Banjo Bowl. I'll give you the history of the Banjo Bowl so you'll know what it's all about.
Oh, well,
it's a charity game.
Well, then maybe we can clip that out and make it separate.
We'll see. All right, let's see. September 22nd, the European League of Football Championship game is going to be played. October 6th, the New York Jets are going to take on the Minnesota Vikings in London. It'll be at 9:30 in the morning on NFL Network. And on October 13th, it's the Jaguars versus the Bears in London. Again, 9:30, NFL Network. October 20th, Patriots versus the Jaguars at Wembley Stadium in London. The other two are in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Another 9:30 a.m. Game on NFL Network. October 26th, the CFL regular season comes to an end. November 10th, it's going to be the Giants versus the Panthers in Munich, Germany. Another 9:30 a.m. game on the NFL Network. And then finally on our calendar, we end with the Grey Cup game on November 17th, the 111th Grey Cup game in Vancouver, where we will be in attendance.
Man, that's going to be a heck of a time.
It's going to be here before you know it. I'm glad
wearing my British Columbia Lions
You
shirt
are.
today, so
You are.
heck yeah, I'm excited to go to that game. We'll
I'm
see
glad
who's in it.
I'm glad you finally got your passport, so
Yeah,
we are set to go.
Did that a while ago, yeah.
All right, anything else before we close things out? Anything else that popped up on your phone?
I don't see any breaking football news, so we should be good.
All right. Well, That's all we've got for this week, then. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can follow The World of Football on Facebook, X, and Instagram, where the address for all three of those is TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music, so you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast to hear us on whatever Alexa devices you may have. You can also find the full audio version of this show on our YouTube page. Just enter The World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @TheWorldOfFootball in the YouTube search bar. So please spread the word, subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation. And if you're listening on the Apple Podcast feed, especially, go down there, hit that 5 stars, give us a comment down there. We haven't had a comment in a while. I was looking today. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start asking people, hey, if you're listening to us on Apple, leave us a nice little review. It helps the show out.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say that last week when our show was a train wreck,
This is a lot
because nobody would have given us any kind of stars last week.
A little better of a show than last week.
Yes, much better this week. I don't know. Maybe we got caffeine in us. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's not as hot. I mean,
It's a little warm, but not hot.
No, right. I mean, it's not as bad as it was last week. But
Yeah.
No, I'm very happy with the weather in Michigan right now.
Yes, yeah. Oh, and it's been a great couple of days. It's supposed to get down in the 60s in the next couple of days.
And even where I'm
towards
supposed
the
to go
weekend.
camping this weekend, it's supposed to get down even a little bit. So it'll be sweater weather, which is fine.
Right.
Enjoy some outdoor music and all that, and see if I can't pull in some football games on my phone. Reception will be spotty, but I'm going to give it a try.
Okay. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us guys sitting here in Kalamazoo talking football. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow, asking you guys to also help the channel out by going to buy a hat or a mug on our merch store. You can find those also on the YouTube channel. I think, did you put a link up on the website or a link on the socials?
Yes, on the website, I've got our QR code there. So if you go to our website, theworldoffootball.com, right on the main page, you'll see a QR code. Just use your phone to get that link, and it'll take you to our merch store. It'll take you to all of our social media sites, and cool pictures of you, me, Aaron, and Kyle, so they get to see what we look like.
Or it's under the video. If you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, all the videos should now have the World of Football store. We only got 2 items right now. After I've had to move, and I've got this trip. I have been very busy.
Yeah.
So once I get back from my trip and we've settled in, I actually got some T-shirt ideas. My girlfriend does some art and stuff, so she might actually help design a T-shirt or two. We might put out some basic new T-shirts for people to buy. But we'll work on the store. It's a work in progress. But for right now, got a hat and a mug. Those are the 2 things you need.
All right. More stuff to come, hopefully.
Hopefully.
All right. Anything else?
I don't know, unless you want to say something funny to put on a T-shirt.
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
How about this? We'll see you all next week.